Sober? Isolated? Yeah, me too. My name is Ange Buxton, and this is a podcast where we talk to people from all different walks and all different lengths of sobriety about how they're staying sober and sane during these trying times. This is Sober During Crisis. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Really excited about today's episode. I don't really want to say much up front here, except that this was my first remote call with a complete internet stranger. What I did was I put in a Zoom chat, hey, if anyone's interested in being interviewed for my podcast about how you're staying sober right now, hit me up. And I had a couple takers. My guest today is Joey, and he is a vet. He served in the Navy, and just so many things that he had to say, I felt like were great little back pocket expressions that I could carry around with me. In fact, it was pretty tough to pick a title for this episode, if I'm being perfectly honest. One of the many really dope suggestions that he makes is to check out Russell Brand's book, Recovery, Freedom from Our Addictions. I couldn't believe that he brought this book up because it was one of the main tools that I used this time around getting into my first couple months of sobriety and just like trying to form a connection with my higher power and work through the steps. So definitely, I also highly recommend that book. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, how recovery is a verb and not a noun. We're going to talk about meditation and the dusty demons. Stick around if you want to learn more about how the brain works in addiction. And trigger warning, I guess, there is a story about laxatives and nuns. It's definitely worth it. So stick around and let's learn some stuff together on Sober During Crisis.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going? This is Ange for Sober During Crisis, the podcast.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I was actually just meditating.
No kidding.
But
Are you working right now? Is that what you do on your breaks?
No. I'm discharging from a combat PTSD program tomorrow. So I'm in a VA facility right now.
Is that like a very structured day they give you?
As structured as they can because of the COVID is even fucking this up. So we would have like 5 classes a day based around PTSD and like the combat experiences we've been through. But because of COVID, we can't have more than 5 people in the room. So they split us up and we have 2 classes a day now.
Oh, wow. How's that program working? Do you feel like it's addressing things?
I think so I've been to I think 6 different rehabs in my life, and so the PTSD, most of it is very basic shit that I've learned throughout, but they get specific dealing with combat related things that I have not learned anywhere else. So it's good, but basic, But if it would have been like my first program, then it would have been extremely enlightening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I did like an intensive day program, and I learned a bunch.
Ooh.
And then I knew it was for like mental health. But then when I went and did like a dual diagnosis rehab, I was like, I felt like the star scholar in the class or something.
Yeah, because you knew everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly how it is for me, man. Because I study addiction medicine, and like I found purpose in this shit. So I look up my own neurology, studies and shit like that. So it's I feel like in rehab they call me the captain of the rehab Olympics team.
Yes. Wow,
you know what
that's
I mean?
awesome. Yeah, no, I do. Yeah. All right, quick pause. During this part, I just kind of go over the basic framework for the conversation, and it's a lot of logistical blah blah, so I went ahead and snipped. It's been really helpful for my sobriety, to be honest.
Yeah. It's going to help a lot of people. That's awesome.
Thank you. What level of anonymity do you want to use? Do you want to use your name? I mean, it's totally up to you.
Fuck. It's all
okay.
good.
Okay. You mind introducing yourself then, and just give me your basic, real quick bio?
Yeah. How do you feel about cussing, first of all?
Oh, no, it's cool. I already marked it as explicit because, look, we're not in a church basement. We're on the phone. Yeah.
I do it in church basements too, man. I'm a sailor. I'm an actual sailor, so I have sailor mouth. And I can't stop it.
You got a good excuse.
I actually have it, yeah. So, you said my name? Joseph Buchanan, but I go by Joey.
Joey. And Joey, where are you based out of? Where do you live, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I grew up in the D.C. area, and I joined the Navy at 19. So all over the world. After 19, I got out at 5 or 6 and lived in Cali. Well, anyway, I'm in D.C. now, and I'm moving to Florida.
Oh, cool. What's in Florida?
I lived in Florida for a couple of months 2 years ago. Met my now fiance in Florida, in South Florida, and I went to a rehab down there where we met in rehab. That's like, you're not supposed to do that, but, you know,
yeah.
Whatever.
Sometimes you get stuck in there, people, you're like, oh, I kind of like you, like, for real. Like,
I did not plan that at all, man.
Right.
I swear. I did 50 days, and I didn't talk to any girl. Then she comes in, and, you know, now I'm here. But, yeah, I'm going back to Florida because the owner of the treatment center we met in, we became real close. And if I could just, you know, stay clean for the amount of time needed to work for him, I'll be working at that rehab that we met at. So that'd be kind of dope, right? And
wow, that's awesome.
I'm going to school for addiction medicine down there, or continuing. So once I get my degree, you know, I'll move up in his company. Hopefully, that's the plan.
Wow, that's awesome. I have interest in getting a job at my previous rehab because I was one of the only people that lived in the area. Like, most people were flying in from other places, and you know,
that's what I did.
It's a great program, and like when you find something that like makes your heart sing, it's like, how can you pass that up?
Yeah, I know, man. If you're finding purpose, is like that's what life is about. You know, I always chased money. Now I chase purpose.
I love that. That gave me chills.
Yeah, right.
Find him. Cool. So how much time, do you mind me asking how much time you have and what like your journey has been like to get here?
Yeah, that's cool. It's been a long ass journey, man. I discharged, I got out the Navy in 2011, and it was drug related. So I had like 6 years perfect service, you know what I mean? And then, I don't know if you want to hear all this shit, but.
Yeah, no, whatever you're happy sharing. I want to hear it. I want to know the whole thing if I can.
All right, dope. So I had 6 years perfect service, and then I deployed. If you've seen Captain Phillips, then you understand my deployment. I went through like the Somali pirate shit in Africa, so I did 9 months over there.
Whoa.
On ground.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so after that, I came home and my life changed. Like, I was fucked up from the deployment and shit, and I started doing drugs. So from 2011 till now, I've been trying to get this shit right. So at the moment, I have 60-something days clean right now.
That's awesome.
I mean, I've had like 6 months, I think, was like my total clean time at one time before. So it's, you know, ninth or 10th time trying to do this again.
I feel that. I had 2 years, and then, you know, it was like I got an Adderall prescription because I was getting squirrely, and then I started smoking weed because I couldn't calm down from the Adderall, and the next thing I know, within like 4 months, I'm full-blown drinking, going to hospitals and all the rest. You know the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
I definitely know the story.
It's crazy how fragile sobriety can be, but then also when you talk to people with a lot of time, I just keep on hearing that it gets better, and I'm here. I got 10 months. And like, I remember at 60 days, I was honestly really amped about being sober. Like, I was so pumped. I feel like it's that 6, 7, 8 month marker where it's like, damn, this shit sucks. Like, life has not really, like, it's, you know, kind of like awfulizing my sobriety. I stay doing that. I'm like, oh, it was better when I was out. No, it wasn't. Like, it was shit.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. It's you get comfortable. For me, you know, I get comfortable in the shit, and it's like recovery it's an action. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a noun. Like, that shit is a verb. Like, you gotta do shit on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Like, you called me and I was meditating. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta do shit all the time. You gotta be thorough with it. That's the difference this time. Like, before I would do shit like I'd get a sponsor, but you would tell me to do shit and I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, I always do it halfway. Like, I'm the sugar with no Kool-Aid kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I mean? Ham and no cheese.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this time I'm trying to do it completely, and it feels different.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I love that. That's how I felt. At 60 days in, I was like, this something. I think it was because I went away for 30 days, and I had never done that. And when I got out, I was like, you know, I don't want to throw away what I just got. Basically, you know, not for free, because that shit does cost money, but basically for free, you know, because the internal piece is so different. So what do you do on a day, just like on a day-to-day to work your program? What does that verb look?
All right, so I wake up, man, and like, This is like a big part of my day, and I never thought it would. It's kind of weird because you're recording a fucking podcast, but I wake up and I start my day with a podcast, either with Deepak Chopra, Jay Shetty or Russell Brand. Russell Brand kind of like introduced me to this whole thing. Like I read one of his books and it was like, boom, it hit me, right?
Oh,
but,
is it the green one? It's like mint green. It's about recovery. He
yes,
goes through the
it
Yo,
says
I've been
recovery on the
reading
book.
that. It's so good. Oh man, I highly recommend that book to anyone hearing this.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I actually got one of his books in front of me. I'm reading Mentors now. So Russell Brand Mentors, How to Help and Be Helped. That's another amazing book that I'm just starting off. But I start off, it was reading a book when I was in that the 30-day rehab I just got out of. But I finished the book, so now I'm doing podcasts. And it's like, it just to start your day off on some kind of right way, either like some kind of positive podcast or prayer or meditation, just something that you can be intentional with. You know what I mean? Like you got to be intentional with the way you start your day so your day flows, you know? So anyway, I start like that, and then I'm in this stupid fucking program right now.
How long you been in there?
45 days tomorrow.
See, that's when you're at the stupid fucking program part of any program. Yeah. 45 days, bro? That's like a year.
Yeah, dude. Oh, God. And I just got out of a 30, so I went door to door. So I went from the DC psych ward, like a VA psych ward is a little different than regular psych wards, you know what I mean? Because you got combat, like, vets. Yeah, they're crazy for real. So, like, I went from that to a 30-day rehab to this. So.
Oh, man. Intentionally starting your day.
Yeah, so being intentional, right? So start your day the way that you want to end it, you know what I mean? Be intentional with that shit. So I do that, then I got groups that I go to. It's only like 2 groups right now. It's supposed to be 5, but so it's only 2 because it's COVID. It's messing everything up. So by lunch, I have no more groups left. So I meditate either before lunch or after. My fiance is in Florida right now, and we started getting clean again together. So it's kind of cool because I call her, and I'm like, you ready to meditate, babe? And then, like, we meditate together. So there's something about meditation and connectedness, like, you know, I think that, like, even though she's in Florida and I'm up here, like, we meditate the same guided meditation at the same time, and I feel like we have some kind of connection. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. My girl's not in recovery, so she doesn't drink though. She just doesn't work like a program the same way I do, but she's really supportive of it, and she does like her daily readings and everything. And I actually got her into meditating. Then I fell off with meditating, and she still does it. And I like, awesome. Yeah, I got to get back on because it was so helpful for emotional regulation. I was getting whole hours of just like peace and not being so reactive. But yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, reactive. Yeah, yep. That's me too. I'm a very violent person. If I don't do all these things, man, like. I'm very like calm and collected now, and people like see me in this program and they think I am a calm and collected person, and I'm not. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I do. I get that.
And also, like, it reveals things to you. So the way it was told to me is like, if you meditate, it's kind of like looking in the mirror at yourself, right? But if you haven't meditated in a long time or just haven't, period, then that mirror collects dust, right? And the dust is the demons that you have, like, deep inside of your, you know, hidden away somewhere or compartmentalized somewhere that you just don't want to look at. When you meditate and you don't have all these distractions, like, that dust will come at you before you're able to see yourself. You dig? You know what I mean? So
wow, that's like a beautiful metaphor. Like, wow. I like thinking about that. Yeah. And it's not because it's collecting. Like, when you're not meditating, it's not that, you know, you go back and you can look perfect. You have to, like, relearn how to meditate all over again.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, for addicts, man, it's hard for us to sit with ourselves because, I can only speak for me, right? So, like, I, in the beginning, didn't want to sit with myself, man, because I numbed a lot of shit that happened to me or, like, things I've done to people. I run away with it with heroin. You know what I'm saying? So I can't numb myself, and I have my thoughts to deal with. So in order to steady your mind, you first have to deal with your mind. And that was, like, hard. It's hard for a lot of people to do. You know what I mean? But after, it's completely worth it. I see the change in my girl, and I see it in me, you know, like, she's a very emotional person too, but meditation, she's always happy after we do it. So I recommend it for anybody.
I love that. I've been doing yoga, which on paper, I hate yoga, but every time I do it, it's the same thing where I do it and then I feel so much better. My body feels better. I feel more at peace within myself because I've been walking to meditate now. Like, I try to do like basically an hour walk around my neighborhood, mostly because I can't leave the house. And during that time, I try not to listen to anything. Like, there's definitely days where I'm like, I'm just mad at the world. Like, I can't be in my thoughts right now because it's like a toxic place in there. But that's also probably just a matter of me falling out of practice with meditating, where now if I have a feeling, it's really hard to sit with it. It's like I want to stew over it and like turn it over and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's dope that you're even doing it, period. You know, like there's a lot of people out there just scared to be with themselves. Like coming out of a rehab, you can see it, man. Like people, like they'll just run around and just talk to everybody and anybody just to not deal with themselves. You know, that's like one of the hardest parts of being in like an inpatient program for people when they first get here. You don't have TVs and blah, blah, blah distractions. You have to deal with yourself, you know? And I think that's a big part of recovery is being able to like learn yourself and know, you know, what your triggers are and how to deal with yourself better. Where are we at?
All right, so we got I love that you're walking through the day right now. So far you get up, it's like podcast, meditation, you got your program, and then what are you doing in the evenings? For me, that's my trigger time from 5 to whatever. Well, mostly if I can make it past like 8 o'clock, I'm good. But it's like from 5 to like 9 p.m. are like my trigger hours. So how are you getting through your evenings?
Well, so meditate after that. Well, I don't want to like cut you off, man, but like I'm gonna rewind to like 2 o'clock because like around 1 or 2 o'clock, I call my sponsor. Big part of my day, man. That's why I didn't want to skip it. But like I'm going through the big book right now. So I've read the big book on my own twice. But like I said, I'm doing it thoroughly right now. So I call him and we read a chapter a day. And like a good sponsor will stop you like, you know, every paragraph or every other and explain what that says. Because like the big book was written back in 1930 something.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to interpret, you know, for me and a lot of people. So he explains it to me and I'm actually getting better knowledge out of the book. So anyway, we do that around 2 and then I work out for an hour. Another big part. I need that release. So I lift weights for an hour every day. Now we're at dinner time. So my girl and I right now, we can't go to like physical meetings. So Zoom is like, there's a meeting every fucking hour on Zoom.
Right.
So we always catch a meeting once a day. It's normally at 12. This is huge fucking meetings, like 400 people, man. It's crazy. But if you go on like the innergroup.com website, it will list all the meetings at whatever time, whatever location. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, if I was being restless in that part of the day, then I would definitely catch my meeting in the afternoon. But I get mine at 12. So, but let me see, what do I do, dude? Like, honestly, I'm watching Peaky Blinders right now on Netflix.
Yes, their hair is like goals. Like, I feel like now that my hair is like grown out because there's no barbers anywhere, I can like maybe do that little side part that what's his name with the eyes has. You know what I'm talking about? With the like blue ass eyes and like the little cheekbones that go all the way into basically his nose.
yeah. They all got some crazy ass haircuts, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like this is like we're gonna come out of this and everybody's gonna have Peaky Blinder hair.
Crazy. Yeah. But that's what I'm doing, man. Netflix. Like I mean, there's nothing else to do, right? So self-care, self-time, you know, there's a difference between being like secluded and you know what I mean, like isolating and like just taking some time for yourself. So like I mean that's definitely what I do. I need some time for myself every day. So I'm Netflixing and going through every season possible since I'm stuck here.
Right. Okay. So we got a Peaky Blinders rec. I've been asking everybody for their recs too. What else? Any other shows? We got a good book rec. I'm glad we got that.
Yo,
no one's brought that
Badlands,
up.
Dude.
Well, Badlands. All right, tell us about it. I don't actually know that show, to be honest with you.
It was one of those AMC shows. Like I think it's on after like Walking Dead and shit. But it's like a martial arts end of the world kind of. Something happened that killed everybody at the end of the world, and you know, fast forward a couple 100 years later, and everybody has swords, and like there's no computers or blah blah blah, but everybody walks around with swords and they fuck each other up. Perfect for me.
That's dope. That's dope. I'm not gonna lie. I might end up being like, wow, I must be the only person in the world that doesn't. If it's an AMC show, I'm probably the only person in the world that doesn't know it. So.
Well, I mean, that's good for you. You got 4 seasons to watch, man. I wish I had 4.
I'll jump on. I've been playing a lot of game. I just bought a PS4, so I've been just catching up on every game that I missed since like I had like an OG PlayStation when I was a kid, and then after that, I was in school, so I was like I didn't have money, and now I actually have money because I'm just sitting at home not buying anything. I've been playing The Last of Us. Right, that too. Oh my God, yo, the money situation is so much better now. Like it's so much.
Yeah, there is money, dude. You don't even want to know what I had to do for money.
Oh,
like
God.
I mean, don't.
I got it. I'll be honest, there's definitely some demons in my past in that department where it's like I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, man, that meditation, I'm trying to tell you, you got to get through it, man, somehow. We all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're as sick as your deepest secret or something like that.
I think so,
It's
yeah.
like
It's sick as your secrets. Yeah, my cousin said
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Do you recommend any games, man? 'Cause
All right, so
there's a PlayStation out here. I just don't have,
the first game I got was this game. It was free. It's called Prominence Poker, and I've been trying to learn poker because
Oh, shit.
there's a casino in my city they just built, and I would love to come out of here and go play some poker and win some money. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I know I actually don't really like gambling, but in the sense of like learning a game like poker, it's pretty fun because you're actually like putting your brain into something.
Are you, so you are an addict, though? An addict or alcoholic? You one of them?
Yes, both actually.
Yes, be careful, man, because when I was in when I was in Cali, anything that gives you a kind of rush, we tend to go towards, or at least I do, like gambling, like it's a horror. Like I have a friend that has a gambling addiction, dude. Like it's even worse on money, man, than it is like drugs and shit. So
Oh, for real?
like gambling was a big part of my life in California. I was using in Cali for like 2 years, and casinos are all over the place in California, and it would go hand to hand, man. Everybody I used with, we'd go use and gamble. Like I don't know, just be careful. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate you for keeping it real with me. I'm not gonna lie, not one person that I've told, probably because I haven't told another addict, to be honest, but not one person I've told about that has said that. So I really appreciate you keeping it real with me.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, because we like to switch off addictions one for another. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
Like,
I just bought like 400 cigars or some shit. Like literally, I just bought like $100 of cigars. Like.
Yeah, well, at least you know.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
real.
I'm doing the same shit. I'm taking Chantix to stop smoking right now, and it's like working. I used it before, but then I find myself like dipping, and I'm like, why the fuck am I dipping if I don't want to use cigarettes?
No,
You know what I mean?
happened.
Like I
quit,
trade off.
yeah, no, I quit cigarettes and like a couple months ago, and right when I quit, I was like, you know what I want to get into? Cigars. Like,
Right? Why do we do that?
It don't even make
shit,
sense.
You know?
Oh shit! I don't know.
So how about you, man? How long have you been?
All right, so I have like 10 months. I have a year in June, middle of June, and
That's
like
dope.
yeah, like I said, like I had a couple years before. I've done this. I do this thing where I get 4 months and then I go out, and I feel like it's so important for me to keep talking to other people about their experiences because of that. Like I just kept doing that. I kept on doing the same shit, and like I just wouldn't talk to people. I wouldn't tell anyone, oh, I'm having a really bad day and I want to drink. I would keep it to myself, and then with time, it's like eventually you find a reason. You'll find any reason.
That'll burn you, man. Like you got, I mean, my idea of this addiction thing, and this after all my years, like I'm telling you, dude, like the opposite of addiction is connection.
This is so exciting to me because I knew what Joey didn't know, which is that I breached this topic last week in our episode, Hello Isolation. So I was like freaking out excited. So glad that someone else really brought this up because it changed my whole perspective on what recovery is. I used to hear people say, reach out your hand, get phone numbers. And I'd be like, yeah, whatever you say. And then kind of realized reaching out to people and building your own community is how you recover from alcoholism and addiction. It changed my whole mentality, and it seemed as though it had the same exact impact on Joey. So here's what he had to say about it.
Like I've never heard anybody say that, man, but I feel like everybody should know that. You know what I mean? Like if you're connected. Okay, here, for example, right, like my understanding of opiates was if you take opiates for a certain amount of days, then you become an opiate addict, right? Like that's how a lot of people associate it. But so say your grandma breaks her hip or like, your mom or whatever, she goes to the hospital, they might put her on morphine and, she'll be on that for like a month, 2, whatever. But when she comes out, not everybody that comes out is going to be a heroin addict or a pill addict. You know what I mean? You ever seen that in life?
Yeah, no, for sure. My partner takes gabapentin.
Right.
I can't take gabapentin. Like if I take one of those, I'm taking one every day until I die. Like cuz I like how it feels too much. She takes it when she needs to. Like she'll take it when she has a flare up only. And I do not understand that at all. That makes no sense to me. I'm like, why wouldn't you just take this shit all the time? You have a bunch of them. You know what I mean?
So the way it was like explained to me was there's two things, right? First, you need to have an underlying issue, like some kind of trauma or pain or just like a hole that you're trying to fill. That's what addiction does for you. Instead, well, okay, so keep that in mind. The second thing is people like say your mom gets out the hospital and she was on morphine the whole time. She's not necessarily an addict, and that's because she has connections in her life. Like when people use, they normally isolate, right? Or they isolate first, and that leads to addiction. But the thing is, like, there's a lack of connection there. So, like right now, I'm connected to my sponsor, my girlfriend, my recovery support network, right? You know, like I have like things that I need to show up for in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you don't have these connections, you replace the connection with a chemical. The chemical becomes your connection. It gives you, you know, like you ever have somebody talk about heroin like it's their girlfriend? Like, I mean, that's a real example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get that emotional support when you start to feel pain. That heroin will make you feel better, you know. But if you didn't have heroin, the best thing to do is have connections to like people, you know, like something you have to show up for. If you feel pain, you can call somebody. You can reach out. You know what I mean? So I feel like you could always trump addiction with connections. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. It's also like it perfectly exemplifies the reason that I identify as an addict, even though I would say, you know, alcohol was my best friend. Like that was, you know, like you said, heroin can be your girlfriend. Like it's like alcohol was my bestie. And we hung out all the time. And like I always had some kind of like a way to, if I had something crazy happen, I would have some kind of backup somewhere so that I could drink to get through it. And like
me too with heroin.
Right? It's like just like you got to keep a little bit somewhere just to have it. And I have to identify as an addict, right? Yeah. I have to identify as an addict though, because if I don't, then I won't see things like, oh damn, like I'm trying to learn poker so I can go gamble. Like it's really helpful to think of it as like a hole that I have probably from trauma. Like I noticed that with every addict, they had something happen or they had a sustained thing. Like my whole childhood was fucked up. It wasn't like one isolated moment, right? Mm-hmm. But it definitely like for me, like using and alcohol and drugs. That's kind of how I made it through almost. Like, and I don't need that anymore or I don't want it anymore, but it's still like my body's
ingrained in you. Yeah. Like you're used to it. Yeah. I mean, it really makes like, you know, you have these connections in your brain, man. And the more you do it, the more you reinforce it. Like you ever catch yourself driving somewhere and then you just like on autopilot drive to the liquor store and you're like, how the fuck did I get here? You know, does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, I did that with walking. Like I used to just walk and then one day I was completely sober, went for a run and I realized without even thinking about it, I ran to the liquor store and I'm like, wow.
My girl does that shit.
Oh, it's crazy.
But that's just like you reinforce these neural pathways in your brain. So like, you know, I'm completely like immersed in this addiction shit. Like I want to work in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like helping people is the best feeling to me, period. So I did some research on it and like I'm real interested in the neurology behind addiction. And that's like a subject that hasn't completely been touched yet. But anyway, like from what other people found in studies, like there are actual pathways built in your brain, and the more that you do it, you reinforce it. So like that's a good example of like a pathway that's so reinforced that you do that shit without even knowing you're doing it. Your brain is 100% against you when it comes to addiction.
Right? It's like walking in the woods. If you walk on that, like you might walk there the first couple times and it's still mad leaves and shit. But if you keep on walking that path every day, or I'm trying to speak for me, but maybe multiple times a day, then you're gonna have a real strong pathway.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. That's a good way of looking at it. And like, you know, the program and what I do on a daily basis breaks that habit, breaks that pattern. I think Oprah said like 30 days you can make a new habit.
Yeah,
I got like 2.5 months, man. So I'm hoping when I leave here, I keep this shit up.
Yeah, it's good. And like the thing that always gets in the way for me is emotions. Like just anything that makes me feel either too good, too bad. Mostly anger too. I noticed that whenever I'm in early sobriety, my road rage is unreal. Like meditation is the only thing that ever addressed that, but my road rage would be like a new little, I don't know.
Well, you get like stimulus out of aggression. I think we studied that in one of these classes in my PTSD program. You actually get like a release of adrenaline and blah blah blah, similar to your you know, whatever addictions you had. You know what I mean? So anger is like you kind of, it's like, you know, how you jump to a new addiction. Some people can jump to anger, food, whatever. You know, like so that's. I mean, it makes complete sense. Yeah.
You're like the only one that's brought up the scientific aspect so far, and I'm like really, really happy because for me, like understanding the neurology of it was so crucial for me understanding what's happening. It's like, you know, they say you can't outsmart it, but to an extent, like now that I know when I'm escalated, what's really happening is like my amygdala is overfiring probably because of trauma or whatever. Like once I knew that, I was like, I could step back and be like, oh, my brain is literally trying to trick me into fight or flight, and it's like not even that big of a deal. Like it's a dish, like, you know, like it's a tire, you know, like Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. A lot of people think that addiction is like a willpower thing. You know, like, why can't you just stop? Like, you know, like, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
A lot of people that don't understand addiction, even me, like, in the beginning, they think it's a willpower thing. Like, why can't you just stop? If it was just that easy, you know what I mean? Like, this thing is a disease. Your brain is actually against you. And studying, like, not studying, but like looking up the neurological reasons behind it, like, every part of your brain will give you something to make you go back to drugs. For example, like, drug dreams is a different part of the brain. Withdrawal is a different part of the brain. If that doesn't get you, then craving will get you. If craving doesn't get you, then, you know what I mean? There's so many parts of your brain that fire against you if you beat one part.
You just put this image in my head of almost like you're fighting an army of your brain. Like, that's crazy to think about.
Like, you asked me about my daily routine. My daily routine fights all that stuff. Like, I had a drug dream last night, but instead of me doing drugs, I couldn't, for some reason, remember who the fuck I bought shit from. So it was like the first drug dream I ever had where I didn't do drugs. I was like, damn, this shit must be working.
Right.
Like,
no, I know exactly what you mean. Like, the first time I had a dream where I didn't drink, but I was scared I was going to, I was like, okay, like, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, dope.
Oh my God. That makes me think, just talking it out with you right now and hearing how you're explaining it, it's making me think kind of like the disease of addiction is probably pretty similar to an autoimmune disorder, where it's almost like your body is straight up just like attacking itself.
It is.
But that poison,
much,
like, we need that poison, like, give me that, you know, like, that's how my brain is.
But, you know, like, the fucked up thing is there's a lot of diseases out there that people get. Like, there's treatments or like specific treatments or medications you can take to fight it. This doesn't have a specific anything. You have to find your specific cure to it. From what I know so far, my cure is the 12 Steps program and the people that support me. You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't have my girl, like, I'd be able to do it, but it'd be hard. Like, the people you surround yourself with and the things you do on a daily basis is like the cure, and you need to find it for yourself because there's not like a cure-all for everyone. You know what I mean? But like cancer, you know, there's a drug that you could take, or like diabetes, and, you know, you get an insulin shot. You know what I'm saying? But like, this shit is a lot more complex and not talked about correctly, or like the stigma so fucked up. So like, I appreciate you even doing this podcast, man. Like, you know, we're like helping at least one person out there that's gonna listen to this, hopefully.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I feel like it started off as kind of selfish, and then getting to a point now where it's like, I forget that I'm not the only one. Like, the whole point of having a 12-step program is so you don't forget you're not the only one that is dealing with this. And unfortunately, in these times right now, not being able to physically go to a meeting is like freaking killing me. Like, my sobriety was way more stable before this started. I was going to 2 or 3 meetings a week, and I really wasn't thinking about drinking at all. I was just like, I have a different life now. I don't want to say I'm above it, but it's like, I'm past it. And just continuing to work a program, going to see my sponsors, stuff like that. I can't even do that now. So it is harder to get out of myself, and the isolation is similar to the isolation before, like when I was using.
At least you're doing something about it, man. You're being proactive, and like, this podcast is awesome. Just, if I could make a recommendation, man, Zoom meetings have helped so much, man. Like, there's a lot of people that get scared or they just don't like being in a room full of alcoholics and addicts. You know what I mean? Zoom, we go to like 1 to 2 a day, me and my girl, but like, you know, you can share through video, or like you can have your video turned off and just listen. So like, I would definitely recommend that for you, man. You don't feel as alone when you go into Zoom meetings and there's 300 other people there. The shares are really good because people need this shit. They didn't even know about these meetings, and they find it, and they're just like completely overjoyed that they found it. And I would recommend Zoom, you know, for you.
You know, what happened was I was going to them every day, and then this one night, this was last week, so I was doing, there was a period of time where I was super skeptical and I didn't want to do them. And then I went to a couple and I was like, all right, this is actually super helpful. And with the podcast, it's a great combo. And then this one random night, I'm just in my room, I'm in the meeting, and I just got booted from the meeting. But it was one of those ones that's like a regular one that a lot of people are in, that's from the intergroup page. So I emailed them and I'm like, what? Like, why did you guys boot me? I have no idea why. I was not doing anything sketchy, literally just sitting there. And so I'm like, oh, maybe it was a mistake. But then I went to another one and I got booted again. So someone said because I had a smiley face in my name, because it says like Andrew with a smiley face, that might be why. And someone else said, because I posted about it on Twitter, I was like, does anyone know, like, someone else was just basically like, with all the Zoom bombings, anybody whose camera is like kind of dark, they just kick them out.
Oh shit.
So I honestly, after that,
I
had a bad taste in my mouth because it happened in 2 different meetings in one night.
The way I would interpret that, like, I always try to put myself in other people's shoes, right? So, like, if I was in your shoes, what I would tell myself is, like, so I'm a heroin addict, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was snowing outside and I needed my fix, dude, I'm walking through the snow, through a blizzard, through fucking a tsunami. I don't give a fuck. I'm getting my shit. You know what I mean? If I gotta, like, rob you to get my shit, I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll do anything to get my fix. So the way that I handle my recovery, dude, is, like, I'll do anything to get my recovery. So I understand you got that bad taste in your mouth. You feel me? Like, but, you know, that maybe Skype would work, maybe Yahoo, maybe even just fuck it, change your screen name if you need it. You know what I mean?
No, I
it's
did.
Not like,
from now on, I'm like, I'm not putting it back just in case, like, you know, who knows? But I think that's a good way of thinking about it. You know, 1 meeting, 2 meetings a week is not working as well as just whenever I had a spare hour jumping into one. That was working.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you brought that up again. I'm gonna do it, and I'll put a little note at the end of this. I'll be like, look, Joey got me, yo. He had my back. He told me, and now I feel good.
I just want the best for everybody, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's about, man. And that's why I love these meetings, dude. Everybody just wants the best for you. Where the fuck else do you get that at?
Facts,
you know what I mean?
Yep. There's really nowhere. Like, at work, you don't get it. Even in the family, sometimes everybody has their own motivations. There's a primary purpose, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah. I mean, like, sharing this, like you were sharing this message, man, I really hope it helps somebody, man. Like, that's the best feeling you could get, dude. Like, I had a really good job on me. Like, I had a career, you know what I mean? I'm giving all that shit up to work in the addiction field because you don't get that. Somebody coming up to you and saying, you really helped me, or like, I understand my addiction a lot better. Like, I've had people say that shit to me. Like, that doesn't touch a fucking, 6-figure income. Like, I'd rather have that all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. What do you think about, I feel like you're a good person to ask this. What do you think about anonymity things and this, I guess this podcast specifically, but just in general? Because I'm walking a fine line, and I'm just like, I'm worried about it, kind of. You know what I mean?
I think as long as you ask the person and the person relays a message that is personal, like, everything that I will relay comes from my experience, and I try to do it in I statements. But, like, if I was talking specifically for the group of AA or even my home group specifically, then I wouldn't air those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And as long as the message is attractive and not promotive, then you're in a good place. Because I guess that is one of the principles of AA. We attract, we don't promote.
It is kind of interesting trying to get people and get the word out and not feel like I'm promoting, but I honestly feel like who cares right now? These are different times.
Yeah, I get it. Times are changing. You gotta like adapt to the times. But as long as you're not fucking somebody else's privacy up, right? Like, I won't tell a story that I heard in AA on here. I'll only tell my own. You know what I mean? Like, that. I think that's the line.
I always feel like there's like this exciting thing when like you see a celebrity in AA, but you can't tell anybody except for maybe one other person in AA. So it's kind of like a through the grapevine, like, yo, I saw blah 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 at a meeting. It's like, nah, like,
like, you're not supposed to do that, but I mean, it happens.
Yeah, right. It's like we're people, like, we're humans, like, yeah.
I think I've been in 2 that celebrities have been in, like, on Zoom. They say it in the beginning, like, please don't try to do this or do that. This person is here. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Wow, that's crazy on Zoom. I didn't even see. I'll go for that. I don't care. Nah, I need to go anyway. Thinking about incorporating meditating back into my morning specifically, like the walk is great and it is helpful, but just getting an actual meditation in, even 5 minutes, I think. And then also hitting Zoom meetings in the evening. I appreciate you because you're giving me that early sobriety reminder of like you're basically gonna drown if you don't start swimming.
Yes, 100%. I mean, they talk about like a pink cloud in the beginning where like everything is good. Kind of am experiencing that a little bit right now. The shit I've been through is crazy. So for me to wake up and not eat everything in the morning and I can just sit on my bed, you know what I mean? I don't have to like hustle with doing crazy shit. I'm just very grateful right now. So you're getting like the grateful view. Like, I'm just very grateful just to be sober.
No, I need that. I need to hear that. When it comes down to, brass tacks or whatever they're called, like, it's just so much easier. And there's that part of you, I think, part of me anyway, after having no chaos for so long and having chaos be my norm, and having that feel like it's my comfort zone. Like, I feel like that's where I thrive, but it's not. It's a lie. Like, it's a lie my brain is telling itself because it's used to a different type of stimulation of, like, the burden of shame and mostly that. Like, mostly that, or just, like, being angry at myself, hating myself every day. When you take that out, life just feels so much easier.
Yeah, spread it, man. Spread that message. Like, what you're doing right now is awesome. That helps me stay sober, man. Like, just talking to another addict or alcoholic, the most helpful thing in this program is just being able to talk to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love dealing with, like, alcoholics and addicts, man, because we're, like, some of the most caring fucking people. We really are, dude. Like, even prior to, like, being in the program, or just period, once the chemical itself is taken away, we're like some of the most talented, sensitive, caring people, dude. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like a joy to be around people like that.
I feel like I would take care of everyone else around me, and the way I took care of myself was drugs and alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe like me, I didn't know better. I didn't know that meditation would help.
Right,
I didn't know that yoga helps. You know what I'm saying?
Yoga's so hard. Why is yoga so hard? Like,
yeah, dude. I did yoga, like, the first time I did it, I was deployed in Africa. It was 130 degrees outside, dude.
Ew.
For real, 130 outside, and I was doing yoga. I was like, oh, this shit sucks. Hard as hell, dude. 130 degrees is crazy.
Oh, my God. I actually went to school in Baltimore. I don't know if you know it. Do you know Goucher College?
No, dude, I'm from D.C. I'm never going back, ever.
Oh,
like,
really?
Ever, dude.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, wherever you go, there you are. That's like a saying, but I still believe environment is a huge thing. Being around neighborhoods that you used in is a huge trigger for me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I really, really get that. I went to school in Baltimore for, so 4 years, and then I did, it's called Teach for America in Nashville, and I was there for 3 years, and I was like, I'm never going back to Springfield. I'm from Springfield, Mass. I came back and I'm here forever. Like, but I came back once I had strong sober time in other places and realized that, and relapse there too, and just kind of realized, like, it's been 6 years. Like, I think I can go back and try to build a new reputation. And it's true. Like, everybody was kind of gone. Like, everybody I used to run with, like, either they died or, like, they moved to a different city or they cleaned up. It's like,
or they got locked up.
Or true.
That's my story. Is all my friends do. They either still sell or they're locked up or dead. Like, I just don't. That's like the three things that people from my neighborhood get in the future. And I'm like, I don't want that. That's why I'm so hardcore with this shit right now. Build a foundation, dude. You get blessings for that shit. God likes that.
I hope so. Trying to earn it back. I was raised Catholic, so I feel like I'm just going to hell anyway.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
It's like, it's over for me. Like, I might as well just do my best while I'm here.
Yeah, Catholic school and everything, so I know I'm going to hell.
You're going to, oh my God, you went to Catholic school? Oh, God.
I got kicked out for putting a laxative in a nun's drink. I got caught. I got snitched on.
Oh, my God, you got snitched on? That's Catholic school.
Yeah, this is at 10 years old, too. Like, I was a bad fucking kid.
Oh, my God, at 10?
At 10, yeah.
Yo, that's like some, like, rascal shit right there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, I was a different person.
Yeah,
most of my life.
Damn, like, that's advanced level of trickery right there.
Yeah, right? I wish you the best, you being back home. But like you said, you got to build a new.
Hey, thanks so much for doing this. Like, I feel like everything that you've said is like, I could take it and soundbite it and just like sell it. Nah, but like, everything, the way you do it, it's like you're selling sobriety in a way that, and I might cut this because I'm just going to toot your horn for a second, but keep doing what you're doing. Go to Florida and pass that on to other people. Like, the way you say it is so real. And it's in a way that no doctor can say it, and I really appreciate that.
Dude, thank you, man. Thank you. That means a lot, man. Really, because I want to work in this field, so it's good to hear shit like that always.
Yeah, don't lose you. It's hard to talk about addiction to your
students. I bet, man. I bet. It's just a lot of people don't get this shit. And they think if you don't talk about it, it'll make it better. You know what I mean? Like, if I just don't say this to young kids, they won't do it. Like, that's such bullshit. You got to prepare these kids, man. It's real out here.
Damn. Thank you so much for your service, too. I know kind of ended shitty,
oh, thank you. And
I'm so glad that you're sober.
If you need anything else, just reach out, man.
Thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate you.
I got you, homie.
All right. See you.
All right, bro.
All right, so that's it. That was incredible for me. I hope it was just as great for you. I definitely learned some things about the importance of sitting with myself and to check in on the Zoom meeting status. So I have been doing a little experimenting, trying to find the right groups for me, and I think I found the right fit. the lesson I keep having to learn is that my recovery is mine, and so I have to find what works for me. So, I'm not giving up. I'm trying different groups until I find one where I feel right at home. All right, I'm off to chase my purpose. Gotta eat some chicken nuggets. Just don't pick up today, no matter what. I'm Angie Buxton. Peace.